So let me talk a little bit about the ending. The ending was so hard for me. Like, I didn't know what to do because the 4 endings that you could choose from, they were so hard for me to decide over because they each have a good and a bad in my point of view. Like, I was just like, okay, well this one's good for that, but not good because of this. And I just couldn't decide. I'll explain why it was so hard for me to decide. I've seen all the endings already. And in all the endings, I really like what Adam Jensen says. Like, in the end, he does give a good explanation of every piece of ending. For the first decision that I chose, and the one that I've just left it like that, I was like, forget it, I'm just gonna leave it like that, is the Darrow ending, the Hugh Darrow ending. Sometimes I think I've seen it referred to as the Adam Jensen ending. That one was where you expose the truth. You say everything that happened is the way it happened, and in hopes of putting an end to scientific advancements when it comes to, you know, well, scientific advancements in general, that, you know, they could lead to abuse and just immoral deeds and stuff like that. But that's one of the things that really had me confused, because, and Adam Jensen says this in one of the endings. He says, "Will the outcome always be good? That depends on how we approach it." And that's what I was thinking. I was like, will it? None of these outcomes you could say, oh, that would be the perfect outcome, because these choices are a decision that you have to make in that moment. But then also you also have to think of the outcome further on into the future. What's going to happen afterwards, and what would be better? And I was just like, and like Adam Jensen says, will the outcome always be good? And then it's like, well, that depends on how people approach it. It's not like, you know, I can imagine one thing, and then what if it doesn't turn out that way? Like, what if people approach it a different way, and then it's like, it was a waste of time. It ends up being something worse when you thought it would be something good. So the Darrow ending, the thing that I liked about it was that it makes, by ending this whole scientific advancement in, well, not only in augmentations and all that, but in science itself, in science and technology, because technology the more it advances, the more it kind of poisons us, or it poisons humanity. So my way of thinking with this one was, it makes people think twice over enhancing, you know, human evolution. And I was like, yeah, that's one thing that I would like, is for them to think twice. But then the thing that I didn't like about that one was that humanity will stop all experimenting and enhancements in science and technology. And it's just like, well, that's not good for humanity either, to stop all advancements in technology or in science. I was just like, could they just be a little more careful when it comes to augmentations, or, you know, completely overriding nature when it comes to human evolution, or humanity itself. But I didn't, it would be almost like people would, like Hugh Darrow kind of wanted people to go into this dark age, like the Middle Ages, where there's no, you know, kind of like, don't leave technology out of it because it's all going to be bad. It's not all bad, it's just, it's to a certain extent. It could be, like, it needs its limits. And that leads me to the Taggart ending. Taggart was the purity first person, the guy that didn't agree with augmentation. The thing that I liked about his point of view was that the temptation in having all of these advancements is dangerous, and that he's not afraid of freedom, he's afraid of chaos. Because Adam Jensen said absolute freedom is no better than chaos. And that has a lot of truth to it, in my opinion. If you have pure freedom, if you have 100% freedom, who's there to stop you from going out of control, you know, from chaos erupting, because everybody has absolute freedom. And like Adam Jensen said, Taggart pretty much wanted to regulate enhancements because of the power without limits. Power without limits, you know, is not good either, and that's what I agree with. I was like, well, the augmentations, they could lead to this greed, this power, this abuse of power, because people feel like they're better than everybody else, or like they're stronger, or like they could, like Adam Jensen says also, that they could achieve their goal in such much more simpler ways, and the only thing that is standing in their way is morality. And he says that Taggart didn't trust that fine line between morality and abuse, because the only thing that was holding a person from being tempted to abuse their power is morality. And I mean, morality can be strong for some people, but it could easily be broken by so many others. But the thing that I didn't like about that ending was, or that decision, was that the Illuminati and all that, and the whole corporation is the purity first, I think they were called, working in the shadows. Like, it was like, he says, if these people, Adam Jensen says, if these people are so wise, as Taggart says, hopefully they could, you know, do a good job. But there's too much trust placed in an organization that is working behind the shadows, in the shadows. It's just like, what is their real agenda? You really don't know what to expect in those situations. It's like, do I really want to place my trust in that? Are they really going to do what they say? I don't know. I didn't like that. And then the Seraph ending. The Seraph ending I liked because humanity will, in the Seraph ending, humanity will continue advancing in technology. But there's also the case that with the advancement of technology, there's going to be no limits on these advancements and on these augmentations for the first part, because, you know, David Seraph is the boss of Seraph Industries, and he's the one that is for augmentations. So these augmentations would only get even stronger, and people would start becoming, without the purity first people would start getting augmentations more and more, and it would be this greed. It would just be out of control. In that case, the abuse of power would remain. It would be the same thing. It would be an endless cycle of just abusing power and just becoming more strong. And even, I mean, if you think about it, in the future, what if that went out of control, the whole augmentations and the technology advancements, if there was ever a war, it'd be pretty freaking drastic. And then there's the suicide ending, where you destroy everything and you have people, you know, nobody knows the truth, nobody knows what happened there in that facility, and you pretty much trust humanity to move on, to make the right decision. And I like the only reason why I like that decision was because you don't have to side with any group. You don't have to associate yourself with any of those groups. At the same time, the thing that I didn't like about that was that you wouldn't solve anything. Nothing would be solved, because even though you would get rid of that facility, even though you would get rid of the Pangea project, and that, you know, that everything would be sunk in there with the truth, and nobody would know what happened. They would continue. The Illuminati or the Purity Firsts would continue what they were doing, and David Seraph and the augmentation people would continue what they were doing as well, and it would be the same thing. It would be like nothing ever changed, and they would both be fighting each other still, and pointing the finger and blaming each other, and it was like, no, it was your fault, and no, it was your fault. So I felt like that ending really had no solution to it. It was pointless, at least the way that I was looking at it. So I just stuck with the Hugh Darrow ending, the one where he pretty much wanted people to think twice over their over technology and how dangerous it could be. Although I didn't agree with the Hugh Darrow's way that he approached that, you know, with the biochip and everything. And I don't like that people probably will put an end to just technology in itself. At least that was a lot of the point of that ending, that people would stop scientific and technological advancements because they were dangerous. I don't agree with that 100%. I think scientific and technological advancements are necessary, but to a certain extent. Like, if I could just mix, the perfect ending for me would be the Hugh Darrow ending and I think the Taggart ending. So there would still be a precaution in technological advances, and that there would be some kind of a limit to it, some kind of regulation over augmentations and technological advances, especially when it came to augmentations with humanity. That was where I was just like, they're pushing it, like it's way too much. Like, does he really need that? Like, do you really need to create a freaking super soldier? Like, that type of stuff. But not stop technological advances and science advances 100%. Like, don't stop them, like continue them. But there's got to be some kind of regulation there. That would be the perfect ending for me, the mixture of the Taggart ending and the Hugh Darrow ending. A lot of these endings were very, too much, like, on the extremes of different sides, and I don't like when that happens. I don't like decisions when they're on the extreme. I like there to be some kind of middle ground, some kind of agreement where everybody would work together. Of course, that might be a little naive of myself, but that's the way that I feel about this. But it was an amazing game. I loved it so much. It has such deep meaning to it. I mean, the ending, the things that Jensen says, and I really like the things that he says in the Hugh Darrow ending. The things that he says in that ending was really good. That was probably my favorite. Yeah. Oh, and if I didn't mention about the biochip, I actually didn't get the biochip, and I didn't get it mainly because I didn't trust. I didn't trust Pritchard, and I didn't trust anybody anymore by that time. I was like, I don't trust anybody. I'm not gonna go get anything. And Pritchard was the one that told you. But that was brilliant. The way that they did that was brilliant. Where you just, out of nowhere, you just be like, your augmentations would go crazy, and then you just be like, oh! And I was like, what just happened? At times I thought it was a glitch, or at times I thought something hit me and that I didn't notice. And I was like, what the hell? Like, I was like, did I just step in something, or what happened? That was so good, how they didn't say anything. They didn't prepare you for it. Just out of nowhere, you'd just be like, ugh, and you just be like, what the? That was so good, so good. And then the more it happened, you were like, something's up, something's wrong. This is not anything in my environment. I'm not around anything. Like, this is something that's going on. And I thought that was so good. That was one of my favorite things about the ending part of the game, was how they incorporated that. But I didn't get the biochip, and I didn't get it, like I said, because I didn't trust them. But also somebody had sent me a message before I knew anything about this. They were like, "Don't get the biochip." That's all they said, and I was just like, I had no idea what that meant. I was just like, what? And when I finally realized what that meant, I was like, don't worry, I wasn't gonna get it anyways. So, but yeah, that's pretty much how I played Deus Ex Human Revolution, and I loved it. I loved it so much. If you guys haven't played it, I hope what I was just talking about, it might have made you want to play it, because it is a huge game. Not so much in size, but in quality. I mean, it's just amazing that you could put so much meaning into a video game, or such a video game based off such huge issues is so good. I wish they made more games like that, where they had a huge meaning to it, and they actually paralleled to our world, not directly, but kind of metaphorically. So those were most of my experiences. I may have not mentioned some things. If you have any questions in particular, feel free to ask them in the comments, or send me a message and I'll answer them. But I think I talked about most of the big experiences that I had with the game. The next Deus Ex video that I'm going to be doing is going to be on explaining a lot of the themes and a lot of the storyline, the stuff that I feel could have been really confusing, because it is a pretty confusing game if you're not really paying attention, or if you're not completely dedicated to it. And by that I mean, playing it as it should be played, as an RPG, because it's more of an RPG than it is a shooter. I've said this already before. There's emails to read them, because a lot of times they will come into play later on, or things will make sense later on because of that. So it does take a lot of dedication to play the game. It's not just like, I'm not gonna do the side quest, I'm not gonna do this and that. You will miss out a lot. So that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.